Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. Tuesday night live show. We're in studio. Ran into a bunch of people. Pat ran into her today. Said I'd shout out to her. She goes, I watch your show. Nice lady. And she goes, but tonight I won't watch it. I said, why? She goes, I got Jeopardy. To all the rest of you, and when you watch the replay, I'm Al Levine, the talking machine, Chip the Prophet Hainer, Smoking Jim Frazier. Yes, this is live TV, and usually when we mention that, somebody will, there we go.
Good evening, everybody.
That's my guys. We do have a sports talk show. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7, all the Bethel Park residents. We appreciate it. And we're also on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park, and all the way from Nemacolin to Cranberry and Wexford. We appreciate it. We're honored to have Dave Cable here today. He's helping Ethan. And we have Tessa here with her friend Diana. So we're going to have a show with no Devin Shea. He's at the hockey game. Maybe we'll get a report. I'm hoping about that. But we have a lot of great sports to talk about. Get ready for our show. We're going to start with what's on your mind. And I'm going to ask Smoking Jim, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
it's coming.
You got the C, Levine, my old high school quarterback.
What year was that? What year was that?
Hey, I want to thank Al Levine, the talking machine, Dave Cable, BPTV, Ethan, and Testa for the opportunity to be here. What's on my mind, of course, is the Pittsburgh Sportsline Male Athlete of the Week. And I want to give a shout out to Bethel Park High School, greatest arena for high school basketball I ever been in. I was at the Alderdice versus Pine Ridgeland PIAA state playoff game right here in Bethel Park. It was a standing room only sellout crowd. The accommodations was great. Enjoyed the game. But the player of the week has to go to, and this was in Altoona, when Alderdice played up there against Carlisle, and I believe Sid Bream's old stomping ground. But
you are a name dropper.
Ramon Creighton, the all-city nose guard, who's an all-state point guard. How does that even happen? And he scored 19 points in a playoff victory over Carlisle. And the Pittsburgh Sportsline female Athlete of the Week has to go to South Park, Allison McGrath. And don't forget that South Park is very close to winning the state championship this year. And they were upset earlier in the year by the Obama Lady Eagles. And the bonus, what's on my mind, I have to talk briefly about Martavius Bryant of the Pittsburgh Steelers, the extremely talented young man who's experiencing a bit of depression right now. And he's basically a modern day Tim Worley, maybe Santonio Holmes. And I feel sorry for these guys. I know I said last year that the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I wasn't trying to be brutal, but like Dave Cable and us, we talked about earlier that if you ask me a question, I'm going to have to give you an honest answer. And I said last year that Martavius.
What year were you born?
I said Martavius Bryant, the Steelers should trade him because in the NFL they do not want you to fail a marijuana test. Too many players in the league, unfortunately, partake in the substance, and so they let you know when you're going to be tested every year. Say, for example, June 1st. When you fail that particular test, now you're subject to random testing. So if you fail a test when you know the date for months or years when you're going to take it and you still fail it, I did not have confidence that he would be able to stay clean, as they would say. And now he's suspended for 1 year. I hope he get his life together. And that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. And you didn't just say it one time. You said it throughout the year. Even when he had a big game, you did say they should get rid of him because you didn't believe it would last. And we're not making fun of it. It's sad, but it is the rule. You know, and so what if they're smoking dope after they pass the first one? Because I heard that happens all the time.
Yeah.
You would know more about that.
What a way to celebrate.
Yes. So, Chip the Prophet Hainer.
What's on my mind?
Yes.
Thank you, Alan. Thanks, Jim. You know, just to touch briefly on Martavius Bryant, you know, it's not that he failed a drug test. You know, this is actually it counts as 6 failed drug tests. I mean, you know, I guess he figured, well, I haven't passed the first 5 I've taken. Maybe I just won't show up for the 6th. Well, I guess his brainstorming agents never let him know that a missed drug test is a positive drug test. So,
No way.
So, you know, I hope he tries to figure it out. But you asked me what's on my mind.
Yes.
I heard something that really got the hair standing up on the back of my neck this past Saturday. I understand that the woman that was hit in the head with a batted ball at PNC Park last summer has decided to go ahead and sue the Pittsburgh Pirates, Major League Baseball, and anybody else her attorney could add into the lawsuit. And the thing that upsets me about this is the fact that if you look at the replay, it's pretty horrific. The woman got hit in the back of the head with a baseball. You know, and that's very sad, and I'm very sorry that she got injured. And I hope that she recovers completely. But, you know, this is what the deal is with Major League Baseball. As a spectator of a Major League Baseball game, minor league baseball game, little league baseball game, any kind of baseball game you go to, you need to pay attention to what's going on around you. Specifically when the pitcher is on the mound and pitching the ball in excess of 100 miles an hour to a batter who can hit the ball more than 120 miles an hour out of there. And if you watch the video on this, the woman's got her back to the pitcher while he's in his windup. He completes his windup. The ball gets fouled off, and there is netting behind home plate. Well, netting is not like plexiglass. Netting has holes in it. So subsequently, if you can see that there's a net in front of you and it's got holes in it, there's the possibility that something could fly through that. So I would not feel safe there. And there is no presumption that behind that netting that you are safe. As a matter of fact, on the back of the ticket, there's a disclaimer that says that the ticket holder assumes all responsibilities for being hit by promotional items thrown into the stands, flying bats, flying balls. So that all being said, I would like to know how it is the Pittsburgh Pirates' fault that this woman wasn't paying attention while the game was in play and got hit in the head by a batted ball. If she would have been paying attention and watching the field as this happened, she may have had the opportunity to duck. Now, I don't believe that's Major League Baseball's problem, and I certainly know it isn't the Pittsburgh Pirates' problem. And I think frivolous lawsuits like this just do more damage to the game than they do good. Here's a thought, and I know they make these announcements throughout the stadiums. I go to a lot of baseball games every year. But, you know, people need to put their phones down, pay attention to the ball game. You know what? You want to post on Facebook? Do it in between innings. You know, there's only 3 outs in each inning, and then you got plenty of time to sit and talk to the person next to you. You need to have an attention span of about 15 or 20 seconds each time they pitch the ball. And, you know, this is not the responsibility of Major League Baseball or the Pittsburgh Pirates. So I just want to tell everybody baseball season's coming. Pay attention to the game on the field and, you know, be conscious of your own safety. It isn't somebody else's responsibility to make sure that you're safe.
I hope she wins the lawsuit.
That's what's on my mind.
The Pirates are at fault. I hope she wins that lawsuit. The usher told her to go to her seat. They had no business letting her go to her seat, being ushered there. I hope she wins off.
Jim,
she only wants $135,000. Give it to her.
Jim, if I asked you to walk off a cliff, would you do that?
Yes, if you were the usher.
Point made.
Well, I now found out if you ask Smoking Jim something, he does not tell the truth. All right? This is one of those things. I'm not putting up a disclaimer. He just does not tell the truth. He's a sensational type of guy. He's looking for a reaction, and he got it from both of us. So, mission accomplished. Eat your pizza from Olive Oil's Pizzeria.
I believe in protecting our women.
Well, Smoking Jim,
I believe that too, but you know what? I also believe in taking care of your own.
Here's what I say. They cannot sit in the lower area where they could be hurt. Anybody that cannot pay attention and they have to go like this to enjoy every moment and take photos like I am right now. Look, I'm with these guys. Oh, they're on TV.
I almost got attacked by pierogi down there.
No, you didn't. You did not.
No.
You weren't there long enough. You just barely saw the pierogi race, and you were gone.
Wait a minute. Jim had a fork and a knife when each hand and a napkin tucked into his shirt. It was the pierogi that was at risk.
Pierogies. Unlike when I took nice promotional photos with the pierogi. You don't even talk about the nice things. Hug a pierogi, they said, as it was going through the stands that night I was there. But Smoking Jim, whatever he said before, unless he tells me, what year were you born in?
My mouth is full.
38.
Okay. So in other words, what he just said previously, that's for a part of his, he has a special show, and it's not with us. Thanks, Smoking Jim. And since he's, did you bite a finger? Because I think it's unsafe unless you have gloves. We just ate Olive Oil's Pizzeria Pizza. 412-831-1900. Give them a call. Talk to my guys, Zach and Jay. They just made the greatest pizza for us with bacon, pepperoni, and sausage. So we appreciate it. That Italian hoagie was great. Thanks for serving our volunteers. Some of them, I guess, aren't eating pizza, but that's okay. We've got Ethan on the camera and all the people inside there, so we're doing well there. Now, I always end our show with Stay Joey Strong. I'm not sure who can pull the close-up on here. So, should I hold it in front of for Ethan to pull up on that? There we go. That's for the Joey Thabis Cancer Foundation. Check that out online on Facebook and try to send $1 or more to help find out what DIPG is and how we can cure it. Thank you on that. Now, we had a lady on our show. We'll do another close-up. Yoga on Mars. Yes, they do yoga, and it's just out in Mars. Now, she also helps veterans for free so they don't suffer after they come back, even if they've had amputations, stress, you name it, injuries. She does that for free, so check that out. They could use some donations too, but their grand opening is on spring, Smoking Jim. Spring is here on the 20th, March 20th. Check it out, Yoga on Mars. Then I have something else that's very important. Our second annual Designer Bag Bingo, May 6th, 7 o'clock p.m. Check it out. They got some here, Dooney and Burke, Coach, Fossil, Brahmin, MK. You name it, they got these designer bags. It's just awesome. If you look at the promo, I posted up after Dave took it today or yesterday. It's 1 minute. Somehow they put me on a cart in the library with all the purses and wheeled me around. My man Handy Andy was wheeling me around. It's 1 minute, and all I wanted in the library was one book. What happened? Purses for this May 6th. It's $25 a ticket. You can get them at EV Hardware, the library. Call Dave Cable, 412-831-3404. So give them a call, and you can find out more about it. So I appreciate it. What's on my mind is I'm getting excited about the Penguins here. It just seems like a better team. Malkin got hurt. Everybody I talked to said, I don't think they can win. They went out, played one heck of a game, from goaltending, defense, offense, and it just reminds me that you have a lot of talent on the team. The coaches finally got them together where they're actually playing to win, which helps. And with an injury, a lot of teams have had it. Look at last year, Malkin went down again. The team played well enough to get into the playoffs, except for one thing. Like I was talking with Zach at the pizza shop, they had a power outage the last couple years. So we need the goal scoring to come on. I know Chip and I are a little hesitant about the goal scoring. If they can do that and play like they did just this last game and a few before that, they could be there. They're going to make the playoffs. Let's see how far they go. I think they can get past the first round, and we'll have Malkin back. So let's go, Pens. Go tonight. Devin Shea's out there watching the game. We'll see what happens then.
Big difference with the Penguins now and earlier. Early in the year, the Penguins were playing not to lose. Now they're playing to win. Makes a big difference.
I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you're back on the bandwagon. You gave up.
Never
on
often. I'm gonna be
Want to trade
critical when
everybody.
they deserve to be
You want to
critical.
trade everybody.
Well, you know what? You get the emotion of the game because you root so hard for your local team, Smoking Jim. Like you're a season ticket holder for Gateway. I haven't heard much about Gateway except when I bring it up. And it's shocking to me because I don't know what their record is. I don't know if they still recruit. And when I met you over 4 years ago, we became best friends, brother from another mother. But where is this Gateway team at? All I would hear about how great they are. And I just met one of their legendary players 2 weeks ago, Morty Ivy, and he truly is a legend.
Yes, he is.
And it was nice to meet him in person.
Yes, he is.
But the rest of that, Smoking Jim, I thought you gave up and got rid of your tickets, but I heard you still have them.
Still
People
got 'em.
see you.
Still got
Yeah,
it.
So-
right next to Coach Anamarino.
That's it.
Well,
90
nobody
years
said he
old.
pays for them, but he has season tickets. Devin Shea said the game just started. Just got a message from him.
Alderdice
Good
game
job.
or the
No, he's.
Penguin game?
I don't know if you listen to anything we talk about, but there's a Penguin game. Devin Shea's at it. All right.
Devin didn't go to Chambersburg.
No. Now we do our segments. Two of my favorite segments are up next. The first one is Fiction and Fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And as you know, I'm a traveling man. And a couple years ago, I got a chance to spend some quality time at a picnic and at church.
Say that again, church.
A picnic and in church with Martavius Bryant's family down there in Anderson, South Carolina. As you know, Anderson, South Carolina is where my brother and his family live. And Martavius Bryant went to the same high school as my nephew, Dallas Frazier. And
So you had the secret information on him all the time.
yeah, he was, Anderson, South Carolina is an affluent neighborhood. It's an upper middle class neighborhood, something like a community, something like Murraysville, Pennsylvania, where it's like Anderson, South Carolina. Neither of them ever won anything. But it's a great place to live. It's a great place to grow up.
How about the
And
visit?
It's a great place to visit. So Martavius Bryant was a guy who wasn't a thug. He didn't grow up in the ghetto. He came from a great family. So it can happen to anybody. He wasn't involved in gangs. He went to a pretty good school in Clemson, where he didn't have to go to class at all. And he made the wrong choices. And it's unfortunate because he is the closest thing to me. And I'll say for me, that's what Roberto Clemente used to say. For me, he's the closest thing that I've seen in a Steeler uniform to John Stallworth. His hands wasn't as good as John. Probably he's faster than John Stallworth was, got better size. But his ability to elude defenders at that height at 6'5" is really reminiscent of a John Stallworth, and he was on his way to a $50 to $60 million contract, and that's all up in smoke right now. So that's
pun
my fiction.
intended.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. Got to hang out, and I tell you what, the Bryant family can really cook. Some good soul food coming out of that group.
Well, now that you look back on it and you see that he was a fourth-round draft pick, he had first-round talent.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he fell to the fourth round.
Might have been character issues.
We're finding out now.
You think that would have been character issues or anything, Smoking Jim?
Being that 70% of the league smoke, I don't think.
Is that what it is? You and
According to
Ryan
Ryan
Clark.
Clark, yeah. According to Ryan
How do
Clark.
I know these things? Because I listen. Thanks, Smoking Jim. Appreciate your fiction and fact. Seemed like a couple facts in there. Very good. Chip Hayner, let's do trivia time.
Trivia time. Well, I start my trivia this week with a little reminder that tonight starts officially March Madness. The first two of 4 play-in games are being played tonight. Wichita State is playing in the late game, and
Shockers.
somebody, but I can't even remember whom, is playing in the first game. But each of those winners from tonight's game will be fodder for the number 1 seed in their division or in their bracket.
That's how it's set up.
So,
Like a black holiday.
to touch on my trivia for this week, obviously it has to do with the NCAA basketball tournament. And I do want to put out a congratulations to the Pitt Panthers. They made the tournament. One and done Jamie Dixon has got his team there again. We're going up against the Wisconsin Badgers on Friday evening. So let's go Panthers. But there was one of the charter member teams of the Atlantic Coast Conference was the very first ACC tournament champion, being that Pitt's now a member of the ACC, North Carolina State. So, we have the tournament now. It's, I don't know, is it 64 teams or is it 68 teams because we have 4 play-in games? But what year did the NCAA tournament field expand to 64 teams? It was the 1984-1985 season when the team expanded then. Who was the first Division I school to lose the NCAA title game in 2 consecutive seasons? And this is a gentleman's college basketball team who won 2 NCAA titles, and he actually won an NBA title with none other than Lou Alcindor, who soon became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So it was in 1961 and 1962, the Ohio State Buckeyes lost to Cincinnati. And that Cincinnati team was led by the Big O, Oscar Robinson, probably one of the best point guards to ever play in the NBA. See, and he didn't disagree with me there, so I must...
Quick, keep talking.
I must have
Chip, keep talking. Yeah, you're on a streak, baby.
Okay, I'm on a streak. Now, everybody remembers back in the early 90s, and what really put Mike Krzyzewski on the map was the Duke Blue Devils winning a couple of national titles back-to-back. But, Christian Laettner is the one who in the 1992 final threw up that game-winning shot, and who passed him the ball on that? His father had played for the Dallas Cowboys as a running back. His father was Calvin Hill. Son Grant Hill was the one who threw the pass in. And the unfortunate thing about Grant Hill's basketball career, most of his professional career was spent on the injured list. But he was an amazing athlete. A number of teams have won at least 2 NIT championships, which was the first to do that. And why do I mention the NIT tournament? Because the NIT tournament used to be the marquee tournament for college basketball. Yep. The NCAA tournament didn't become the number 1 tournament until CBS got a hold of it, started promoting it. So the first team to win back-to-back NIT championships was LIU Brooklyn.
Wow.
Never heard of them before and haven't heard of them since.
Are they still in existence?
That's right or not?
Okay. I printed my statistics.
He doesn't make it up. He went to 2 sources.
Okay, there was an SEC team, that's Southeastern Conference, that was the first to lose 3 straight national championship games. That happened in 1988, 1989, and 1990. That would have been the Auburn Tigers. 3 consecutive national championship games that they lost.
Wow, I remember that.
Yeah, and you know what?
You were in diapers.
It took me for a little bit of a loop. Now,
I forgot it.
There is one player who played for, in the same season, he played for an NIT champion and played in the NCAA runner-up game in the same season. His name was Dick Mcguire. And here's Dick Mcguire's...
legendary.
Dick Mcguire's story goes like this. He was playing for St. John's, who happened to win the NIT championship that year. And then he had to go fulfill a military commitment and had to go into the Army. So he was unable to finish the season for St. John's. And after he finished his military service, he went to play for Dartmouth. Dartmouth was the loss to Utah in the NCAA tournament. So here's a guy that played on 2 teams in 1 year. One won a championship, one lost. And, neither team won a championship with him on it. So that's pretty interesting.
Thanks for his service.
And, the NCAA tournament, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact of what, the Wizard of Westwood, what was his name? John Wooden. John Wooden, the head coach of UCLA basketball. In 12 years, he won 10 national titles. It's a record that that may be matched sometime soon, but somebody in the women's basketball. But the very first national championship that UCLA won was against the Duke Blue Devils. And there's who coached the North Carolina State Wolfpack team to the 1974 NCAA championship. Norm Sloan was the coach of that team, and his number one star was one of the original Skywalkers in the NBA, David Thompson. David Thompson was every bit as good as Julius Erving. Unfortunately, he had some bad habits that followed him into the pros and ruined his career. But he was an amazing talent. If you ever saw him play, if you've never seen him play, check out the footage. He was an incredible basketball player.
He could really get above that rim.
Yes, he was. He played much taller than his height. Boy, I'll tell you what, he had a vertical jump that was second to none. And I've got two more to finally wrap things up here for our tournament trivia for this week. I'll probably have more for next week. The 1949-50 team from CCNY did something no other basketball team had ever done and will never do again. They won both the NIT and the NCAA tournaments in the same year.
Wow.
And the team that they beat in both of those tournaments was Bradley.
No way.
Never will happen. It will never happen again because the NIT, which is referred to now as the not important tournament, is played at the same time as the NCAA tournament. So
Did you say CCAC? No.
CCNY.
NY, okay.
Okay.
Oh, your eyes are going bad, but your ears are shot.
And finally, here's my stumper for everyone, because I know nobody will get that. Which ACC point guard pulled off the rare feat of being named Final Four MVP while playing for the national runner-up in 1991?
I'm going to be able to get that.
And just to give you a little clue, it is the head coach of South Carolina's women's basketball team, Dawn Staley.
Wow.
And I mentioned that because the NCAA women's tournament is starting, and UConn is the number one seed and the favorite to win the tournament. And they are on the verge of their 7th undefeated championship season. Gino Auriemma is, without any question, the best coach in college basketball, man or woman. If you're not paying attention to what he's doing in Connecticut, you should, because you'll never see the likes of it ever again. But that's my trivia for this week, guys.
Thanks for that little bonus at the end.
Great job.
Thanks, Chip Painter. My segment here is On Location. We had one of our best shows. We had the return of the three-peat City League champions, Obama Academy. It was just an honor to have them there. And what's even more interesting is they've done it with new players. They had 3 freshmen on the show, 2 juniors, very classy people, and one was shy, and she's not shy anymore, so we had a great time. No, she's still shy, but I told her don't worry about it. And the parents were there, the coaches, Monique McCoy. She was dressed like it was a prom night, and she didn't let her players dress up, so we mentioned that. There were plenty of photos. I didn't put my photos up of it, which Aaron Ward was with us. Thanks again to Aaron Ward. Made it great. Great night there. And I'll post the photos up that she took, or our official photos. It was just great to have Daryl Porter, Devon Alexander, and the confidence they have. I told them I'm picking them for the 4th four-peat, or whatever you call it. And they said, we're going more. We're going to win it each year. And Monique said, could we come back on the show? I said, you come back every year. And then all the coaches go, we're going to win it each year. So I like the confidence. It's just awesome to meet people like that. And they believe in school, Smoking Jim, getting grades, getting scholarships if possible, because not everybody can make it to the pros. Smoking Jim.
More don't make it than make it.
I think like about 98% don't make it. Or
By
something.
3rd grade, you learn how to read and write. What more do you need?
Well,
Ask Martavius Bryant.
and anybody that's listened to Smoking Jim and watched what he's done over the years, he's not been homeschooled, and he wanted to be. So he practiced that. And that's what happened to my brother from another mother. It's just facts. But we had a great time. We had a lot of great guests that come on the show. We had Greg Rudolph return. Mm-hmm. We had Victor Olive. We had a guy, Rick Barrico, who has this chamber that's an oxygenation chamber. Mm-hmm. It's 5 times more powerful than all these other ones, hyperbolic chambers that you have. He's right on Federal Street. He has about a third of the football team, the Steelers, guys that even have equipment at home, they come to his place. And they say they can heal a lot of things. They can make you healthy. They said they could take another 20 pounds off of me if I wanted to. Just come on out. I said I don't want to. I enjoy eating. So it's just great to meet people like this in our area, helping athletes involved in it. Just like Victor Olive, he's a ring announcer, and he does that. He also has a boxer who he's helping to promote and support, Amonte Everhart. We remember him as an amateur. He's a pro. He's an undefeated pro. So it's just nice, to meet all these people and to hear their stories. And I got some good news. We're going to be doing a show through baseball season. We're going to be doing a 6:30 to 7:30 show when the Pirates are out of town, the 2nd and 4th week in April and in May. And in June, they're away the 2nd week. So we'll be going through the whole season. So we'll be there each month. So thank you, Atrias. And thanks to the great crowd that come out last night. We had rain. We had hail. Mm-hmm. We had thunder. We had lightning.
Plagues of locusts?
No, we had cats. Cats and dogs were raining from the sky. And here's the unique thing about it. It was such a balmy night for a winter night. They had all the doors open. So you could see this as the show and hear the crack of thunder. And
I saw some of the photos by David DiCello, and it was pretty interesting.
He's one of the best. I use him for cover photos, and it's just amazing what he does put out there. But, we had a great time, and check it out next time when we're there. We'll be posting that up in a couple weeks. And that's it for that On Location. Now, we got a lot of things to talk about, but the thing on my mind that I didn't talk about is I'm not a bracketology guy. I've only played, I think, once in my life. My dad, who we've talked about, legendary basketball guy, he would win 1 or 2 of those polls every year or so. Wow. Or he'd be in the top 2 or 3 where he'd cash in. If you don't bet, don't start. But he was doing that. And he goes, you want to play one? We'll partner up. I go, no, I'm not really interested. I just like the Final Four and the teams there. And I watch the games because I love the college basketball. Now, what do you guys think about that?
Well, I have always said that I do believe that one of the greatest sporting events that exist in North America is March Madness, the NCAA basketball tournament. And I think this year, more than any other year in recent history, I think it's a wide open field. I think there's any one of a dozen teams that have a legitimate claim to win the title. You look at the top 4 seeds, Kansas does look strong going in. And then you look at the teams that didn't get a number 1 seed, teams like Michigan State, and they look very, very strong. So, there's going to be teams that there's going to be David slaying Goliath in the first round. And to this day, there has never been a 16 seed beat a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Could it happen this year?
You think
we'll
maybe?
Find out Thursday and Friday. Anything's happened. Anything's possible. I mean, if Pitt could make the tournament,
go Pitt.
March Madness is the biggest thing, closest thing to being as big as football. And the
Super Bowl.
And the reason, just football in general, even exhibition, is always bigger than anything else. But
really?
The reason that is so great and so big is because people gamble. They were ingenious to come out with the brackets. Women, children, teachers, everybody fills out a bracket. They enjoy doing it, and it's taken it from the NIT or CBI level all the way to NFL Super Bowl status is because of the gambling portion of it. In my opinion.
All right. Give it to us,
being
please.
That I've filled out several brackets.
Which different winner do you have in those 3 brackets that you filled out?
Well,
who'd you pick first?
I believe this year that North Carolina and Kansas got the 2 best teams, and I'll always pull for Arizona because of Miller.
Sean Miller.
And I'll always pull for Calipari because I believe that if anybody will give me some money under the table, to be him. To get a recruiter
of course you would pull for Calipari, who's lost more national championships by recruiting violations than he has on the court. But I think really the thing that makes the NCAA tournament so great is that you watch a bunch of college athletes that play their hearts out. They could possibly be playing their last game. But 95% of the athletes that play in the NCAA tournament will make more money in their professional careers doing something other than playing basketball. So it's like their last hurrah. They play their hearts out. Most of these kids will never see the floor in the NBA or in Europe or anywhere else. So, this is it. It's their chance. It's their chance to shine. And a lot of these guys are going to go on to become doctors, lawyers, attorneys, and other things, politicians, whatever they may be. But they certainly don't make their professional careers as athletes.
That's a great point, Chip. Do you play any of the brackets?
I will usually, and I'll do this tomorrow morning when I go in early for work, but I'll probably fill out about 3 or 4 of them.
Do you?
And,
okay.
I have learned that I spread out I'll have a different winner in each one, and then there's a possible chance that I could get close to a little something, but,
It's like fertilizer. You spread it around. Look.
I'll tell you what, it's so hard to pick because you got these surprise, upsets in the first round.
St. Mary should have
and it blows your whole bracket, and then
that's one thing my dad was good at. He watched the college basketball all the time.
Sure he did.
Nonstop, when he was retired. And he would pull out 3 or 4 of the upsets. He'd go, I had that. And then some of the ones, he was looking for another upset or two, and he'd miss that. But he had usually the final 2 or 3 teams there, and he won. Smoking Jim, what's your theory?
I usually study the referees to see which ones are on the tape. That way I know which way to go. But most of the
how do you do that?
Most of the ones that used to study, they're all in jail now. Gee.
Yeah, well, then how do
Don't
you
they
pick?
have work release?
Now, Smoking Jim, now since you're such an honest man, how do you fill out a bracket?
Well, you know beforehand what referees is in what region.
Now, I have an issue with that because you're obviously lying, because they don't even know what referee's going to be in those games when you're picking this.
There's a way to know it.
Smoking Jim, they don't. Now, what do you, in all seriousness, I'm going to have to call your mother up, Dorothy, because he's talking so crazy now. You got to come and feed him, all right? Now, how do you pick the teams? I know they put them out there, and you don't know the referees.
But this is the most disappointing year because I thought there were some smaller teams that deserved to be in, like St. Mary's. I thought could possibly upset somebody, but they didn't make it this year. They chose to put Pitt and Syracuse both in, and we've seen that. We've seen that drama already.
Well, we've got the ranking system. So you've got the coaches poll, and then you've got the USA Today poll, and then you've got this thing called the RPI. Whatever formula they use to come up with an RPI. Well, you got a team with an RPI of 29, which easily you would think would make the tournament. 64 teams, your RPI is 29 that didn't even make the tournament. St. Bonaventure's RPI. And then you let teams in like Syracuse that, let's say it, they lost to Pitt 3 times.
Yeah. But my philosophy, to get back to
I was trying to get your question.
This is what I usually like in NCAA tournaments, and Chip kind of stumbled on it a little bit, but where most teams don't have it because they're one and done. But I look for a backcourt that has experience. If you got a senior backcourt, a lot of times you can win games. Then I like teams that play that Loyola, Lormont, whatever it was. I like teams that can score, that gets up and down the field. You win with the 3. Sometimes you die with the 3. I like a fast break team that can put up a lot of points. When you're what they call it, a Cinderella, and that's what I look for.
Well, I have a question since you brought that up. I like West Virginia a little bit.
Yeah,
when they're hot,
I do too.
They can beat anybody.
Yeah, I do.
But when they're not, they die by that.
Yeah.
And they have a great defense. Their hands, the quickness of their hands for their whole team that I've watched, I've become a bigger fan of them.
You sure you didn't fill out a bracket?
No.
You know, a lot of
Bob Huggins is, I think, a very underrated head basketball coach. I mean, look what he's done. Look what he did at Cincinnati, and then he fell out of favor, and then he reemerged in West Virginia, and he's now making West Virginia into a national power.
Do you know where he played college ball at? West Virginia. Yeah.
Okay.
And here's a little fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
All right, a bonus.
A B.B. Flannery All-American as a junior for Duquesne University goes up for a layup. Bob Huggins cuts his legs underneath him, and B.B. ended up getting a concussion. That was Bob Huggins taking him out.
Did he have that nice hair back then?
Yeah, he had to throw it in. But that fro did not protect him. Even though on the back of the afro sheet it did say it does protect you from concussions, it didn't protect B.B.
Yeah. Just like it does it. Just like it says on the back of the baseball ticket, right?
That's some just like the disclaimer on the show. Hold it, we just got a report from Devon Shea, live. The Penguins 1-0 from Kunitz and Dumoulin.
From who?
And Crosby. Kunitz. You know Kunitz.
Okay, I heard of it.
You've seen him play.
I heard that name.
Yeah, you did. So, Smoking Jim, we still haven't got your answer on your bracket. Who are you picking then? Now, this
Kansas
is
and North Carolina.
okay. You don't have one that you can just pick then.
Oh, North Carolina. I always go with North because Angel Safino down in North Carolina now, so she lives down there. So
Always sweeties for Jimmy. I
A little
understand
closer
that.
to Charlotte Panthers.
Well,
right?
same hometown as my other brother Eric and his family live in Charlotte. She lives in Charlotte, so I'll be visiting.
And Smoking Jim, I didn't mention, but you invited a guest last minute that sang the national anthem.
Oh yes!
So watch our show just for the national anthem with Jazz singing the song.
Yes, she did.
She really hit a home run on that one because we're at PNC Park.
Hey, you got to take me out, man. Take me out.
All right, so Smoking Jim saying North Carolina. I say Kansas after I saw them beat West Virginia because their team was just unreal. Do you have a pick now in one of your polls that you could
one
say?
of my polls, I like Kansas Jayhawks this year. I think they're strong, but I've picked Kansas a number of times and they've broken my heart.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
Can I
back
say
to
who
the
my
well.
favorite player is?
You could say who all your favorite players are because it could change it.
And he's white. Plays for North Carolina State, Rowan. He played here a couple years before he moved around.
Okay. Smoking Jim, I appreciate that. Your honesty was very refreshing on that. The other ones, forget about it. All right. Chip, go ahead. Kickoff baseball season.
Kickoff baseball season. The Pirates made an interesting move last week. They picked up a veteran who actually played. Who
was
actually,
an MVP.
Who actually was very integral in beating the Pirates in the 2013 divisional series in the playoffs while he played for the St. Louis Cardinals, David Freese.
Yes.
David Freese is an experienced ball player. He's 32 years old, plays third base, plays first base, and he does have a little bit of power. And they say that he's going to be the starting third baseman to start the season off and will continue to play until Gong is healthy enough to play. The Pirates also, I believe it was either yesterday, yes, it was probably yesterday, that they sent a lot of their top prospects back down to AAA for some seasoning. Jamison Tyon, Tyler
As well they
Glasnow.
should, yeah.
And as well they should, exactly, because they need some more experience in the minor leagues before they're ready to make it to the pros.
Oh, yeah.
But, these are Glasnow and Tyon. I believe we're going to see these two before the end of the summer. Say June, July, we'll see one of them or even both of them by the end. I think they're going to bolster the Pirates pitching staff and actually give us the spark we need to take us to a division championship this year. That's right, Jim.
Sound like nobody else wanted to freeze.
How do you know?
Well, you could say the same thing
It's a
about your
little bit
buddy
of
Pedro Alvarez, right?
Yeah, where is he, Smoking Jim?
The Mets.
There was no line.
Yeah, where is
he
Pedro?
walked up to Baltimore, and actually, he took a $3 million a year pay cut to play for Baltimore. So
Are you?
The Mets?
No.
He's the Orioles?
You know Neil Walker?
Neil Walker's with the Mets.
Oh, okay.
He's with the Mets.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm
So,
glad you're
I get
all
the
over the
first round
baseball.
So the
choices
Pirates
mixed
announced,
up.
and I know Jim will find issue with this, so I may as well get it out of him right now. Pirates
Ding,
announced
ding.
that Francisco Liriano will be the opening day pitcher. And I know that Jim's going to say that Garrett Cole should be the opening day starter, but Garrett Cole's been injured for the first part of spring training, and he only pitched his first 2 innings off the mound Sunday, and he pitched well.
Tommy
but
John?
they need to, what they do is they call this stretching out the pitchers. His first outing, he'll pitch 2 innings. Then they bump him up to 3 innings, and he's on a pitch count. And then with each successive start, they'll get him to 4 innings, they'll get him to 5 innings. So he's not ready, and he won't be ready on opening day to pitch a full game.
Can I quote Chip?
Yeah.
That the games in April means just as much as the games in September, and we got to get off to a fast start.
Right, and if your ace pitcher is not ready to play, don't you think you're doing the team a disservice by putting him out there to make you happy? I think
And
so.
Smoking Jim. The nice thing about that, I agree with Chip. I've said that before. Kutch is healthy. Mm-hmm. He doesn't need surgery this year. He didn't need it last year, but he was injured. So they had to make up some excuses. You're always distracting people with whatever you do and say. But Kutch is actually healthy. Look for a fast start.
Yeah.
In baseball.
I
Not
do.
on the bench.
And I tell you what, I think the two of the surprises this year are going to be in the pitchers, Pirates staff, Jonathan Neese and Ryan Vogelsong. I think they're going to be pleasant surprises this year for the Pittsburgh Pirates rotation. They're going to be reliable starters. They're going to give them 5, 6, 7 innings, and they're going to keep us in ball games. And defensively, each of these pitchers is excited to pitch in front of this ball team because they have not played in front of a team that's as good defensively as the Pirates is. And believe it or not, even with the loss of Neil Walker over the past winter, they say the Pirates are a better defensive team now than they were at the end of last year.
But they still won't be able to make up them 40 home runs.
Well, you don't give up as many
James,
runs.
James, let me tell you something, my friend. You don't need to hit home runs to win baseball games.
Tell that to Babe Ruth.
Small ball. He plays small ball.
Yeah,
Billy
that's what
Martin.
That's what they used to say about Babe Ruth when the Yankees were winning another pennant.
No, they never said that.
That's
He
what
was-
Chip said. You don't need to hit home runs.
No,
You don't
Babe
need
Ruth
to.
was hitting more home runs than teams.
Than any team. The whole
Than
the whole league.
teams.
Than the whole league one year.
Yeah, I'm glad you learned that from me.
And we gave up our Babe Ruths.
No,
We didn't. Believe me.
He was not Babe
Nobody
Ruth.
is ever going to confuse Pedro Alvarez and Neil Walker with Babe Ruth, ever.
Smoking Jim, how many teams are in Major League Baseball that could have had him? Well, you don't know, but that's okay. There's like 30 teams. So
Small ball.
that's what happens.
Jim, all you
Steal
have to do in a
base.
baseball game is score one more run than your opponent. That's all.
And Las Vegas got them down to 87
Do they?
wins. Yeah.
How much you put on? Never mind. I don't want you to have to answer honestly. And that's Spoken Jim's unknown report as a gambler.
Well, let's talk about a subject that Jim should have some good involvement
Gambling?
in. We've got the NFL free agency is in full effect right now. We've got the Denver Broncos who are in the process of dismantling a Super Bowl champion. They decided to tender Von Miller the franchise tag, and he promptly decided that he would go and dance with the stars. And Antonio Brown's going to dance circles around him, so that ought to be an interesting thing. I'm sure my wife will give me weekly updates. But you look at what's going on with the NFL. There's a lot of movement going on. The Steelers made a signing today for an offensive lineman from the Denver Broncos.
I saw that.
So Calvin Beachum is gone. They decided to re-sign Ramon Foster. They re-signed Darius Hayward-Bay. Interestingly enough, that was 2 days before word came out about Martavius Bryant's latest follies.
Everybody knew her on the team, especially.
but,
if Smoking Jim knows.
And to be honest with you, as much as a
Come
talented athlete as Martavius Bryant is, if you look at the Steelers in their receiving core, they signed Ladarius Green from the Chargers. And if you notice, the Steelers have made more signings in free agency this year than they ever have. But, they've got a pass-catching tight end. The receiving core is going to miss Martavius Bryant, but it's not going to be the cause for them to fall off the pace this season. Marcus Wheaton has stepped up.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown is still the best receiver in football. Sammy Coates, you know what? He's got a chance to step
That's why
up
they
and make
got him. He stepped up in the playoff.
He's
right?
got a chance to make his mark, and he could be the guy that ends up getting the 30, 40, $50 million contract.
Let's hope not.
Follow the example of Martavius Bryant. Don't screw it up, okay? You got a great chance, got an opportunity here. So
and who's the second best receiver on that team? Le'Veon Bell.
No,
He's
yeah,
back.
no question.
He's
There's no
back.
question.
Except
about
we
that.
need prayers of health. For
Well,
him, it's 2 years in a row. We need Pouncey. I would just like to see them play a season.
So, we've all talked about it, and it's been all over the papers, and I want to talk to my NFL scout friend here. But, okay, the Steelers, what do they need to go after in this year in the draft? Obviously, everybody knows they should be going cornerback first. But what do you think they're gonna do?
I think Pittsburgh Steelers, they got 7 picks. I would go 4 corners and 3 safeties.
That's you. And I don't even know if they listen to you.
Now I know why Mike Tomlin doesn't listen to Jim Frazier.
They'll get a defensive lineman. That's what they're going to get. We haven't had a nose guard like Casey Hampton.
Well, we just lost Steve McClendon, and Steve McClendon certainly was no Joe Green.
Wow.
But, they need to bolster the defensive line
I'm thinking that.
because of the defensive line last year was the reason why we were able to get any pressure on quarterbacks. And I think if you watched what Denver did in the Super Bowl to Cam Newton, is their pass rush was the difference in that game. Cam Newton had to keep on dusting himself off after every play.
Yeah,
you do that against Cam Newton, Tom Brady. They did the same thing to Brady in the AFC Championship game, and that's the key to any successful defense. I think the corners are not nearly as important as the people that can bring the heat. We also know that Jarvis Jones certainly isn't ever going to bring the heat. I think
He'll get there eventually.
Well, he's got one more year that we have to suffer through his act, but I wouldn't be too surprised if they took a linebacker. In the first 2 or 3 rounds, I think that would not be a wasted pick.
Oh, I'm even thinking a defensive lineman, like I said, or linebacker, of course, because you always need the fresh blood there, or new meat, like Smoking Jim talks about. So I can't argue that. Now you can pick up a lot of these cornerbacks. You got some young guys with speed. Who knows what they can do? They've learned the system a little better, so we may get some improvements. I'm looking forward to a good season, just some health.
Although if I had the first pick for the Steelers in the first round, I would take Tyler Boyd from Pitt. I think he's the best player. I think that his slow time will drop him probably out of the first round, maybe even out of the second round. But if I'm taking a guy who's the best football player, they can do some damage. If I'm Chuck Noll, I'm taking the best player available. Best player available is Tyler Boyd.
I like that. I'd like to see him here. He's been practicing on the same field.
Yeah.
Keep him here.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Because I want to, and I'm going to be interested to see what his 40 time does to his stock in the draft. They put so much emphasis on speed, and sometimes the fastest guy isn't always the best football player, and sometimes the guys with the best instincts may not be the fastest guys, but they always seem to be the guys that are there at the point of
And he
attack.
seems fearless. He'll catch a ball over the middle.
Yeah.
He'll get hit and hold the ball. I like that about him with what I've watched him at Pitt.
And I've never seen him get caught from behind. So it could be a little Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice only ran a 4.640. But with Bill Walsh seeing that nobody else seen, he said Jerry Rice is the fastest he ever seen from 15 yards to 60.
Really?
And that's what you do as a wide receiver, you're in motion when you catch that ball.
And
that's what Jerry Rice's thing was. Once he got started, nobody was going to catch it.
yeah, off the line, I don't really care how fast you are. I care how fast you are once you catch the ball. And some guys, when they get the ball, they get faster.
Well, I'll give you guys a little horse racing analogy. There's horses that are closers and there's horses that are front runners. I've had both of them when I had racing horses. I had a little horse called Hancock Creed. He couldn't get off the gate. fast for his life. I had another horse that's unbounded. I could bet you every time that she'd beat anybody to the first quarter. Did she win a lot? Not really. She had a bad knee. Hancock Creed in a year won over 20 races because he closed. When he was coming down that last quarter, that last whatever eighth of a mile, he could beat a lot of horses, and he did. In his class, I'm saying.
That's amazing.
So I saw it with my own eyes. You see it with athletes. You just don't know the heart that they have.
Now, that horse I was on, what was that? What kind of horse was
Old
that? A closer?
No, the horse you were on was like a front runner. Okay. He had the speed to get to the thing. The horse I was on was a closer, and we almost caught you.
You did.
If you would have breathed, we would have never caught you. That would have been the difference.
And the greatest horse finisher that we ever saw in our lifetime was Secretariat.
Oh, yeah.
That horse.
And he could run on the front end, too.
Oh, so. that horse could just run. And
I heard about that.
And he was a massive horse.
Yeah, he was.
His chest was just...
Yeah, no doubt.
I saw him standing next to men, and I was just like, wow.
No doubt about that. So that's different styles. I hope you're right. I'd love to see Tyler Boyd stay here as a Steeler.
Yeah, they blew it with Aaron Donald. Now don't blow it again with Tyler Boyd.
And talking about Aaron Donald, what a beast.
Yes.
Well, at least they didn't blow it picking Tyler or Terrell Pryor, huh?
No, that was a good thing. And Aaron Donald's from Penn Hills, which is amazing, in Pitt. That's just utterly amazing.
So some more comical stuff that's going on here. Johnny Manziel, it looks like he doesn't have a home. Well, he may be having a home sometime soon in the prison system in Texas.
Yeah, well, any dad that says my son trained on Skittles and beer in college, he shouldn't have said it. And when you have money there, who knows what happens. Devin Shea just announced 1-0 at the end of one period. Penguins are up.
Good deal.
Ethan just gave us the 3-minute warning. We're about 2.5 right now, so I appreciate that.
The repeat.
We just learned if you're with Obama Academy, this is the three-peat. How about that? You got the three-peat.
Nice.
So, yeah, as we wind down, what else do you want to bring up here, Chip?
Jim? The Final Four of the state championships going on this evening. Championships to be played Saturday in Hershey.
It's a done deal. All the dice.
Okay, all the dice. Well, Jim and I are pulling for the dice. And, now the only question that we have, and this has created quite a debate on the internet, is the Alderdice basketball team the greatest high school basketball team of Western Pennsylvania history?
Yes.
And there's some interesting rebuts to that.
Well, there's experts out there that are saying they are. But you know what? I question the experts sometimes. I've seen a lot of great basketball teams from the 70s.
Well, and that's I'm glad you mentioned that, because this is one thing that we get caught up in a lot in sports nowadays, is this is the greatest ever defense, offense. How do you judge from era to era? You really can't, not fairly. You know what? They're the best that there are today. Are they the greatest ever? How do you gauge them? They're playing two different games.
Oh, one of the things I'll gauge a little bit on that is the best teams at that time. If they take all the challenges from the best teams and they win, then they're ranking right up there traditionally in history, that they played the best of their time. If they avoided it, or didn't play those teams, then it's not as much.
So that would mean they weren't like Roger Mayweather. They played and beat the best of their era.
Well, that's part of, I can't argue with you on that, whether you're for them or against them, but that's why I say that. It does make a difference, and I just like watching good games.
So do I.
With the best players.
Good competition.
And you can do it in basketball because they all played on the same peach tree.
Peach tree? Smoking Jim, it was a peach basket.
Yeah, close enough.
That's why we have fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. I need a little time check here if somebody could tell me in the studio. 10 seconds. Thanks everybody for watching us. Thanks Dave Cable, Tessa, Ethan, and Diana for being here. Smoking Jim, Chip Hayner, I'm Al Levine. Stay Joey strong.